Well, thank you for joining us. You guys are in for a treat today. Mr. Matt Meeks is going to be our speaker. He is the guru of social media and all things digital. So you are going to learn a lot today, so be prepared to take notes, ask questions. He likes it to be interactive. He wants to hear what your thoughts and questions are, and he's happy to field those for you. So take it away, Mr. Meeks.
Yay. Thank you. It always scares me when people say guru, because I get this image of this very polite Indian man sitting going, okay, man, let's talk about that people. And I'm not that cool. I wish I was, but I'm not that cool. All right, so we are talking about the state of social media marketing. I'm going to kind of give us a glimpse at where things are and then where they are going in 2018, or at least where we think they're going based on the information we have. So a few things to note. One, Twitter is dead. It's not dying, it's dead. Don't waste your time and energy there. It's not coming back. Its stock keeps sliding. They fired, I think, 500 people this year already. That's on top of like 800 they fired last year. So it's gone. Snapchat is still a thing, but if it's not careful, it's going to go the way of the dodo bird as well. Snapchat stock has been downgraded twice in the last 6 months, and their credit rating got downgraded, which is a big deal for investors and stuff like that, right? Their primary reason they're feeling the pain is because Instagram is on fire. It is growing by leaps and bounds. Facebook owns Instagram, so it has basically unlimited cash and development power behind it. Snapchat had its stories out for whatever it was, 2 years. Instagram rolled it out and had more users in less than 3 months than all of Snapchat, right? So that's a big thing that's really kind of scary for Snapchat and its investors, that one of its competitors can roll something out and essentially suck its audience away from it overnight. But it still has some things going on for it. The big thing with Snapchat is it's doing a pretty good job of holding the tweens, right, and the teenagers and the young millennials. It's doing okay with it. The problem is it can't grow. It can't bring in the 30-plus somethings, right, as to Instagram and Facebook is doing a really good job of pulling those people in, and Instagram is doing a good job of pulling teenagers in as well, right? So Snapchat's getting teenagers, but as we all know, they don't have money. So from an advertising standpoint, Snapchat's very expensive to advertise on, and who are you putting money in front of? People who can't spend any money. So it's not really a good business metric there, versus Instagram is making money hand over fist. It's got Facebook's power behind it, so it has all the business users and everything else. It's doing a good job of converting the older folks off of Facebook onto Instagram using both platforms. And Facebook is the only one that's managed to keep its user base, right? They picked them up when they started in college, and they've maintained them all the way through. No other social platforms pulled that off. So they're both very stable. Email still works. I get asked all the time, is email marketing dead? No, it works, and it works really well if you have a targeted list of people who actually want your emails. Right? We hear email marketing and we think of spam. We think of being inundated with the, get your free car insurance quote, or, mail enhancement stuff from this pharmacy. I mean, we think of this foolish stuff. That does not work. But having a targeted list of people who actually want communication from you and see value in it works really well. 60 to 70% better conversion than anything else. Okay, so email still works. A few more things to note. Video is not next, it's now. If you're not already leveraging video in some capacity, you're not going to be behind the times you are. Video works way better than anything else in conversion. And I'm not talking about the crappy videos of, hi, my name's Jack and this is Jack's restaurant. I open, not, stuff like this, not the infomercial stuff, but actually high quality videos. Chick-fil-A is a great company to look at. Who would have ever thought, if you had talked about it a few years ago, if you said, hey, a chicken company is going to make videos and you're going to love them on Facebook, Instagram, and social platforms, you would have went, yeah, right. Chick-fil-A gets insane interaction, because they think them through, they're clever, they're cute, they're fun. And they're all about all kinds of different things. So video is a big deal. Good images still work. Not as well as video, but they do still work. The key, though, is stop using stock images, okay? If you're going to iStock or whatever and getting images of people that don't look like your customers and using it, it's hurting you. There's data behind this, right? We've all been on that website where the little chat bubble pops up and there's this perfectly smiling person with their little headset on going, April's here to chat with you. We know nobody in the call center looks like that. You're lying. She's not answering the phone. And there's been research that shows companies that use images of employees develop better brand trust. They have friendlier customers, right? Every call center in the world's gotten the call of the person who's like, it's fake. We don't feel like there's a human on the other end of the phone. So when we use stock images that don't actually resonate with our audience, we're setting ourselves up for failure. We're distancing ourselves from our audience. So we need to stop using it, use good images, post less, but offer value when you do. This is something Toby and I were talking about before we got started, and the fact that there's these times where you feel like I've just got to post something, right? I don't know what to post, but I've got to get something out there. That's actually hurting you in the long run, right? It hurts your engagement, it hurts your user base, and you're contributing to just noise in social media, which is not what people want. That's why Facebook continues to tweak its algorithm over and over and over. And they've started using it on Instagram, is because there's just too much noise. There's people posting stuff that nobody cares about. So when you do post something, ask yourself, does this actually bring value? Does it actually do something for my audience? A good friend of mine talks about it this way. She says, does it elevate the group consciousness? That's a big challenge, right? It's a tall order to have to stand up to and ask, does what I'm posting actually elevate or bring up or help people?
You're sounding like a guru.
Am I? Dang it, I quit. But really asking, does the thing I'm posting work? And if you look at companies, again, I use Chick-fil-A as an example, if you look at their content, they almost always hit on one of the big keynotes, right? It's either it's pulling at your heartstrings, it's making you do the awe, or it's making you go, oh, that's coming, that's a thing, right? And there's building of excitement. There's something of value, there's something when it comes through their feed that people want to interact with it. It's not just noise. It's not just clutter in their feed. Find your audience and stay there. I'm still amazed at how many companies and businesses in the consulting end tell people, hey, you've got to be on every single social media platform that's out there. That is so inaccurate. And there's so many that pop up and they die overnight, or they're niches in certain fields. Know who your audience is. Who are you wanting to reach? What are you wanting to get out of them? And then go where they're at and then just stay there. Chill out. Don't worry about the new thing that popped up yesterday that all the kids are... Don't freak out. That doesn't mean it's going to change overnight. The chances are it's not, because all the ones that are popping up are struggling to pull anybody 30 or older, right? So don't freak. Stay where your audience is. And then this is one we're going to talk about even more when I get into the 2018 stuff. So it's a pay-to-play thing now, meaning that if you want good exposure, you want good reach in social especially, you're going to have to pay for it. The current number that's out right now of organic reach, meaning paid or free reach that you don't pay for, organic, is 2%. So whatever your audience is, only 2% of your audience is going to see something you post. That's really low. And that number has just absolutely slid and slid and slid, and it's because there's too much noise. Facebook specifically has lots of data and research to prove that when there's too much clutter in their people's newsfeed, what do? They put Facebook down and they walk away from it. They don't want to see it. Well, that freaks Facebook out because the only way they make money is eyeballs on screens. So they want to make sure that what's in people's newsfeed is useful, that it's valuable. So you can either provide that and pay for it, or you can just pay for it and continue to post your junk, but it's not going to help you. So don't do it. Okay, so what's next? This is starting probably December is when we're going to see some of these changes. We're going to see a huge surge in paid content, aka death of organic reach. Businesses are going to have to pay to get their content out. There's too much noise, there's too much clutter out there. So the only way Facebook, Instagram, Snapchats can really deal with this problem is to go, well, if you want to get it out there, you're going to pay for it. And if it's quality content, you're not going to be afraid to pay to get it out because you're going to know that it's going to do what it's supposed to do, right? Old school marketing, this concept of, one of my favorites, an old business guy I talked to, he said, well, half of my marketing budget's wasted. I just don't know which half. This thought process is dead. It's not dying, it's dead. We're going to have to know that the content that we put out is going to work because we're going to have to pay to get it out there. So we're not going to have to do the shotgun approach anymore and be like, well, let's just do whatever and see what happens. It doesn't work. Paid content is going to be a huge thing. Tablets are taking over print. Print media, and I'm talking like magazines, books, and stuff like this. They're just on this massive downslide, right? Tablets are becoming way cheaper than they used to be. You can pick up a tablet now for less than $100. It's actually okay, right? These things are going to be inundated. My brother's school out in Texas, they assign a Chromebook tablet to every student in high school now. There are no textbooks in the school at all. Zero. There's no library in the building at all. All tablets everywhere. Teachers can push homework assignments. We're going to see a bigger move to this. So understanding this, meaning that as you're creating your content, you need to think digitally. How is this going to work? We're going to start seeing more interactive ads. We're going to start seeing the ability to change out content, right? So for instance, you've seen the digital billboards, right? If you went back 5-10 years ago, if you had said, hey, I want to put up a billboard for one day, an advertising company would have looked at you and that's going to cost you a small fortune. Now you can put it up for $200-$300, right? You can buy it and be timed. I only want this ad to show on this road at this time during this time of day when people are commuting home. And then I don't want it to show any time the rest of the day. That's insane. We're getting very targeted with our advertising, which is good because in theory, if advertisers do what they're supposed to do and target the content well, it's useful, right? I'm not going to put a men's growth hair thing in front of Cherie. I'm going to put it in front of me, right? Because I have a receding hairline. Versus I'm going to put some shampoo and conditioner ad in front of her versus it's a waste of time to put it in front of me. I'm not conditioning anything, right? Like that's what this targeting is going to do. So as we see tablets do that, it's going to be a big deal. Now I usually get people who get all frustrated with me when they're like, oh, you can't say print's going to die. So I'm going to walk you through this, okay? It's called the law of diffusion of innovation. And now I'm going to have blank stares. Hang with me for just a second. So this is a bunch of smart people put this together quite some time ago. Basically, whenever you have a new idea that comes onto the scene, right, you have basically 2.5% that are the innovators. They're the ones who push the new idea out. On top of that, you've got about 13% that are early adopters, right? They're the first people who are like, well, so-and-so tried it. They wrote a blog or something about it. I'll now try it, right? You have early majority, late majority, and then the laggards simply because there's nothing else. They're forced to do the new thing. We're at this tipping point right now. You're starting to see a mass majority of people who normally wouldn't have adapting to this, right? My mother, for instance, I love her to death, not technologically savvy to save her life, has a tablet. That's all she uses, right? Her tablet and her phone. She doesn't use a laptop, she doesn't use a desktop, and she uses nothing in print. She's in real estate. Their entire industry is on the tablet and her phone. So we're starting to see this tip into it. Governments, right? State of Georgia, God bless it, has even went to where you can file and set up your LLC all online. You can submit all the paperwork online. It's a big change. It's a big shift. Not having to mail in, fax in, do this kind of stuff. So this is what I'm saying. When you've got digital taking over, this is a big deal. Next year, we're going to see this part of the market really inundated so that everybody's doing it. Yes, you're going to have some people, like my grandparents, God bless them, he still uses a phone book. Does anybody else use a phone book? Please tell me no. Okay, thank you. Of course, now I'm embarrassed you wouldn't say if you did. There's still going to be those people. But literally, he handed it to me. He's like, hey, find this. I was like, why did you hand me this book? I was like, here's all the numbers, facts, here's the Facebook page, here's the menu. He's like, oh, how did that work? Right? So you're going to have this, but we're at this tipping point where it's becoming easier and easier for people to go digital totally. So print is going to die. Improvement in social search. Again, Toby and I were talking about this, the fact that it's kind of hard to find something on social media sometimes. right? If I tell you, hey, find this piece of information out in the world, what are you going to say? You're going to say, I'll go Google it, right? Facebook is trying really, really hard to stop that from being the norm. They want it to be, I want to find a hotel, go Facebook it. That's what they're wanting. I want to know where to go on vacation, where to go eat dinner, whatever, go Facebook it. So the Facebook is working so hard, and they have the potential to do much better because they've got way more data than Google does actually. They understand who your friends are, right? They understand where your friends have eaten, what they've thought of those places. The friends you're closer with, if they say, well, Matt values Toby's opinion more than Cherie's when it comes to food because they eat out more often together. Facebook knows this. They have this trackable data. So they can make those recommendations at a much greater level of detail than Google can. Google's guessing 90% of the time. It's just taking algorithms and basic information and parameters and going, meh, we'll see. And then they learn based on what people click on is what they refine, versus Facebook can go, no. I know what you're going to want to click on, so I can render those results. So we're going to see improvement in social search. Social commerce is gaining more momentum. There's rumors of Facebook and Amazon really talking and playing nice right now, to where if you can imagine scrolling through your Facebook feed, and maybe you looked at something on Amazon, the day before, new TV stand, whatever. You scroll through and it pops up in your Facebook feed and it says, hey, you want to buy this?
It comes up that day.
Right? The retargeting is there, but I'm talking about a direct integration where you click one button, that's it. It's on its way. Done. No filling out, no checking nothing, no nothing. One button. You sure? Yes. Boop. Shipped. Direct integration. Making it easier and easier. Apple Pay doing the exact same thing. That's why these new iPhones are a big deal. They're making this mass integration to where you can literally walk into a store. You can do this with Apple stores now. They've already done it, right? I can walk into an Apple store and pick up a set of headphones, pay on my phone, and walk out. Speak to nobody. Don't have to do anything, right? We'll get a new case, whatever, pay for it, walk out. So you have in-person, but they're going to turn this into the digital side where you're scrolling through on a store and you see a new mattress or whatever it is, and you go, oh, I want that. Click buy. Has all your shipping information, everything. So it just goes, you sure? Yes. Click, done. That's it, the whole process. Social television is going to be huge in 2018. Facebook and Apple have set billions of dollars aside to do this. Facebook has already rolled out Facebook Watch, not this, but watching with your eyes, right? To where they're going to go head-to-head with Netflix and everybody and start producing TV shows. Apple is going to start producing TV shows. And you're going to see where live streaming becomes a whole new thing. Reality TV isn't going to be produced by MTV anymore. It's going to be produced by the 17-year-old with her iPhone. And she's going to have a TV show, and it's going to be streamed to Facebook's 8 billion daily users. 8 billion monthly, users. So in Apple fashion, one last thing. I get asked this question all the time. And yes, Facebook is fine. People, every time I speak, it's Facebook. Is it okay? Is it going to die? Is Snapchat going to kill it? Is it safe to be in? Is that the thing we need to be? Facebook is fine, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, Facebook is probably going to roll out a car service next year. Think Uber, Lyft, and AKA devastate the industry. Because again, Facebook has way more data on you, right? I know what kind of music you listen to, so I can pair you up with a driver who listens to the same kind of music you do. Tremendous ease of access. They already have 8 billion people using their platform and are familiar with it. They have data on those people. They're already using messaging apps. They don't have to build all that infrastructure. And they have way more data on us as individuals, so they can vet drivers like that, versus Uber and Lyft have to go through a whole process of creating their database, checking through other places. Facebook goes, no, I've known you for 8-9 years. I know your driving record because I can submit it from the DMV. I know everything about you. So I think a car service is imminent. More than likely, they'll either merge or buy out Uber because they seem to really be struggling after all their PR nightmares and CEO change. So if the new CEO doesn't stabilize it, it wouldn't be far-fetched for Facebook to buy it.
Does that also help because you can see what friends are nearby you? So that's
if you notice inside Facebook Messenger, this is why I think they're going to buy Uber And it'll be like an Instagram buyout. Don't get me wrong. Uber's not going to go away. They'll buy it and continue to maintain it under the brand, but Facebook will have this direct integration in the back end. Right now, you can be in a major city and start doing a thing like messaging people, hey, let's do dinner tonight, blah, 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 and they'll say, hey, start a plan. You can click that. It'll instantaneously go, hey, do you want to book rides for everybody? So that's the integration I see coming, and Facebook's already got it, but I think Facebook's going to want more, and they're going to want the seamless data transaction to happen, so they'll just buy them, right? Oops, sorry. Click too many times. Death of Yelp. I'm predicting it, 2018, Yelp will be gone, or it will be struggling. Facebook, again, has way more data, way more data than Yelp could ever dream to have on restaurants, right? And Facebook makes it tremendously easier for businesses to list themselves than Yelp does. Yelp's struggling, it's a single niche environment, it can only make money this way. Facebook can make money 5,000 different ways, so it can afford to bring it to market much faster and much cheaper to have this search. So I think that's going to be a big one. Craigslist will be next. Facebook Marketplace, if anybody's ever used that, right? Way safer, way easier to use than Craigslist, because one, you can see who the person is. You can see the location, you can see their friends, you can see if they have friends in common. The communication end of it is way better. Craigslist, you have to send an email or send this way, and then it's not sure where it's going, and you got to wait for them. Facebook, you're messaging. It's a platform they're already used to. Oh, and again, they have 8 billion monthly users. They rolled this thing out and didn't say a word, really. They were just kind of like, oh, look, we added a tab. Millions of people picked it up and started using it. No tutorials, no big marketing push, no PR, no nothing. They just kind of rolled it out. So I think Craigslist is probably next on the thing. Fundraising sites are seriously in trouble. If you've noticed, Facebook now has fundraising built into it. They're competitive in pricing already, right? They stand at 5%, which is competitive to most others. It's cheaper than a lot of them. There's only one site that I'm aware of that's cheaper than 5%, right? But again, think of ease of use and the number of users. How many of you have ever given money to some kind of site, fundraiser site, whatever, right? How many fields of information do you have to fill out? What do you have to do? You have to go get your credit card, usually, if it's a new one. Right, I mean, if you've given before, but you've got to give it your name, your credit card information, how much you want to give, blah, 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 blah. And then it puts you on some drip campaign, and then they start sending you every sob story under the face of the planet from then on out. And those are good things, you want to support them, but really, I just wanted to give $15 to my nephew who's going on a mission trip. That's it. That's all I wanted to do, right? And he doesn't even end up getting $15. He ends up getting $10 out of all of that. So Facebook rolled out its fundraising. They're doing a big push with it right now between the hurricanes. But again, think of how easy it would be if you're scrolling through and the Red Cross pops up and it says, hey, do you want to give $5 to help Irma relief? You say, yeah. You click a button. That's it. Done. It's already given them $5. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to make a big deal of it. Give you an option maybe to share it, with your friends or say no. Done. That's way easier than going to some other website, logging in, saving all the information, telling it I don't want to do that. So fundraising sites are really in trouble this next year, and then Netflix needs to watch its back. Because again, Facebook has way more money. Netflix only in the last few years has become a money-making company. It was broke for a very long time, so investors are still scared of it in the big picture, because nobody's ever done what they've done, right? Again, Facebook makes money from lots of ways, so investors feel a little safer about it. And with Facebook investing a bunch of money in original TV shows, they have the potential, because of the ad money, to roll this feature out and go, here's your favorite TV show, and you don't have to pay for a subscription. You don't have to download another app. Just open Facebook, and there it is. Watch. We'll show you a little buffered ad at the very beginning of the video that's super targeted and relevant, and you'll think it's funny and cute. You can move past the video and go on watching your, Orange is the New Black, whatever the new TV show is, and that's it. Versus Netflix is saying where they're going, oh no. We make them pay a subscription fee, and we limit how many devices they can have on it, and we limit Facebook going, no, we won't do any of that. We want it on every device you have. And oh yeah, you don't have to set up an account. So I think that's a big deal. And then same with big media. So your CNNs, Fox, we're going to see this huge shift, I think, in the way news is distributed. In the 2016 election, we specifically saw where like the fake news thing, and I'm not going to get into politics, but fake news became like a big deal. Well, Facebook dumped a ton of money into researching and understanding this problem and understanding how articles are vetted and how they're created and how do we weigh somebody's opinion and all this stuff. Way more research than any big news company has ever done. So Facebook is now poised to be able to present news that's not just filtered and curated, but it's actually validated. That's something CNN's, Fox's struggle with. I know somebody who works for CNN, and that's her job, is to validate news sources. And she works her butt off, and she said about 50% of the time they're still wrong. They just have no way of verifying it. Again, Facebook goes, I know your behavior, I know who your friends are, I know where you could get sources to, I know. So it'll be really interesting to see what that shift is, and if we see the pop-up of basically news channels out of Facebook, right, that are completely independent, they're not tied to big media, and they're independently vetted by Facebook, which is creepy in some respects. But it's also really cool because if it brings competition to the market, it will be helpful. Everybody will have to get on a more level playing field and play nice. But with Facebook controlling so many eyeballs, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Yes?
So that's not through the YouTube platform that Facebook's bringing in as far as like a news channel. It would be a separate from the YouTube news channel?
Correct. Yeah, so Google owns YouTube, right? So Google and Facebook, they play nice, but only when it suits their needs. So Facebook has developed its own video platform. There's actually more videos per hour uploaded to Facebook than there are to YouTube now, which really ticked YouTube off when that number happened, right? So Facebook owns its own platform, and they're already penalizing outbound links of any kind. So if you post any kind of outbound link on Facebook, it's penalized immediately by the algorithm. They want it to stay in platform. They still penalize the ad. Now, they'll still jack up the ad spend against it. So if I haven't uploaded, so you take the exact same video, right? Let's say we take a chamber video that we're making right now. We upload one to YouTube and we do a boosted post, and we upload one to Facebook and do a boosted post. The boosted post that's uploaded to Facebook, I guarantee you will perform better. Exact same content, exact same verbiage, going to the same audience, same targeting. This one will perform better every time. So it's not a huge ordeal. I mean, if you've only got it on YouTube, but the difference and the shift is that Facebook wants everything there, because at the end of the day, they want advertising dollars. That's how they make their money. They have to have your eyeballs. So if they can keep you in platform where they can control the whole experience and track what you're doing through that process, they become more intelligent and can serve up better ads. So yeah, the news channel will be totally embedded inside of Facebook. It will not leave Facebook. Other questions? Did I freak anybody out? No? Somebody? Okay.
I think my biggest thing, and this is my wife speaking through me, she freaks out that places like Facebook know so much about us.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the answer to that? You just go, I ain't gonna touch nothing, I'm gonna get rid of my phone.
I mean, yeah, so there's again, going back to the law of diffusion of innovation, there's laggers, right? There's people who live in a cave intentionally because they don't want to be. The reality is, if you have a power bill, any kind of public utility service, or live in this country, you're tracked. There's data providers, there's service companies. I mean, the Equifax leak, the reason that's so big is they have way too much info on people. And there's 3 of those companies.
You can't hide.
No, the best thing you can do, I tell people, offense is better than defense, right? And if you're really paranoid and worried about it, go get an insurance policy, go get LifeLock or something, go get freecreditreport.com or whatever and do credit monitoring and go check it once a month. You know, offense is better than defense, because the reality is your information is public anyway. You know, just you being aware of that and monitoring it's your better defense.
Is it better to go Facebook Live on your personal page or your business page and then share?
So it'd be targeting. As far as reach, personal is better. But you have if you're going on your personal and you're talking business, you have the potential of frustrating your friends who don't really care about your business.
Right.
Right? As far as reach, though, going, it's better to go personal because the way the algorithm works, it assumes that if we're all friends, I want to see you go live. But it's assuming your content's not business, if that makes sense.
Right.
So depending on the content, if you're talking about your daughter getting into a college, yes, going live on your personal is better, than versus going on your business. Technically, I haven't read lately since they updated it with this last about Facebook Live, but it used to be that any, how did they word it? Any business promotion through a personal profile was actually against terms of service, right? If you set up a personal profile to do business, that's a no-no.
Right.
Right, and then they went a step further and they were like, well, if you produce content under the page, then it's a no-no. And then they got into a whole tiff with independent sales reps like Tupperware and Mary Kay who were like, what's my personal business?
Yeah.
And I think they relaxed it a little bit, but it's your audience. Who's your audience? Why are you trying to get in front of them?
What about LinkedIn? Is that worth putting a little effort into?
Depending on, in your industry, no. Because I know your business, right? For you personally, it's not going to hurt you, but as a business, no. Versus, I know her in leadership consulting, absolutely. Because she's trying to get ahead, and she's trying to get into other professionals' doors, so to speak. And note, I didn't talk about LinkedIn because, honestly, since Microsoft bought it, everybody in our industry is kind of going, we don't know what's going to happen to it. Is Microsoft going to screw it up? Is it going to make it better? Are they going to leave it alone?
Well, my son-in-law is a labor lawyer, and he found his job through LinkedIn.
Yes.
So it's worth it for Jeremy.
Yes.
You just gave me permission to put much better on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are the two I struggle with.
Just leave them. They don't serve any purpose.
Unless you're looking for a career change or a new job.
Yeah, like I would say, for you personally, maybe, just to keep your personal brand and keep connected, I think it's valuable for every professional to have LinkedIn, but as a business, and you posting and stuff, don't worry about it. Use it to see birthdays and people getting new jobs and commenting and being like, hey, good job with that new job there or something.
With Airbnb and VRBO, they pretty much do the advertising for us. Would there be any point in maybe posting on my personal Facebook page that reaches out to my friends? I mean, I have some out of town, family out of town, but I don't know if that's really helpful.
So, slight segue. So there's some concern over VRBO and Airbnb in Facebook because Facebook could also potentially roll out its own booking engine at some point, which would really just freak everybody out, right? I think Airbnb's safe because of its nature. I think VRBO is the one that really scares me, or not me, but the industry. So, because you're right, the way they control the advertising component is odd in a sense. We don't really know how to manage that. But if you have no other way of booking, right? Because I know my mother used to own some condos, and we had a private booking engine that people could go through the website and book it themselves, and they could go through VRBO and book it there, right? So we marketed the website. We never pushed somebody to the VRBO listing when we were paying for it out of Facebook or something. Versus if it was just through VRBO, whatever their promotion pack was that we did every month, and, got so many listings or bookings. But to answer your question again, it goes back to your audience. Now, are they going to get annoyed with you? That every post I see from her is about a freaking calendar. Is there a risk in that? Maybe. So I would say you need to have some kind of Facebook page set up that's specifically for that you're attracting your audience to that way. And two, you're not limiting yourself. If something does happen with Airbnb or VRBO, you have an audience. You can leave those platforms and not freak out about your marketing because you have an audience. You can take them somewhere else and be like, hey, everybody, we use this tool now because it just showed up and, rocked the world. So I would say you want to keep your marketing separate if you can, and use the tools as long as they work.
My question is twofold. Okay, one is how, and you kind of answered this for me, but my issue is how to break the Facebook habit. Like I've had Instagram since last year, one of these things you did, and I was kind of forced to open it. But I it's hard for me to get in the habit of going and posting, and I'm so used to Facebook, and I know now they have a scheduled posting and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like there's some sort of push for me. Okay, now do I have to get familiarized with Instagram? So that's kind of my question is, do I need to break my Facebook habit and split it up? Or do they still have different age demographics like they had before? Or has that changed since Facebook has merged it?
Since Facebook bought it, we did see an increase in the age, right, which is good. We saw Instagram's age range expanded considerably. Whereas beforehand they were stuck in the 30-somethings and below, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Now they've surged in the 30-plus-somethings. It's a strong number. Like that's a demographic they have. As far as keeping the two, so in 2018, I think you're going to see this huge marriage of the two, really, finally. And they're going to become one thing. While there'll be two apps and have two names and blah, 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 all their features and integrations and business management is going to be one thing. Because right now you can, in Instagram, post to your Facebook page. I think we're going to see the reverse of that soon. Where Facebook page, you can just tick it and go post it over to Instagram, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's going to become one management source for both of them. And we're going to see a bigger integration because like Instagram Stories has, I forget how many daily users it is, it's several hundred million now. Versus like Facebook's, what do they call it, My Day, I think is what they're calling them. Like Facebook's story thing, right? Nobody uses it. It sucks. But the tool is identical. It's just as good as Snap. It's actually better than Snapchat's as far as filtering.
Is that what we have the filter now with your for your profile photos like that?
Your story, okay. Like I don't even pay attention to it because there's no data. Nobody uses it.
I was like,
But because there's so many people using Instagram stories, what Facebook rolled out and they were like, hey, we're gonna kind of test like maybe just making that one thing, and you can do it on Instagram. It'll just show up on your Facebook, and we'll do away with our own tool. So I think you're going to see a bigger marriage between the two to where content kind of moves back and forth very fluidly, especially for businesses. You're going to have one, your Facebook page is going to be the place to manage all of it.
They're already penalizing like Hootsuite.
Yeah, any
all
third.
those other cross-posting tools.
Yes.
So I think they're geared up for those cross-posting.
Yeah, any third-party tool posting into Facebook gets dinged automatically.
Has Instagram come up with their own independent scheduling thing? You know how easy Facebook is? Something along that line. Have you done that yet?
Would be nice, no.
Well, then the one you recommended before to schedule Instagram was Hootsuite. Is that still
Only
the
Polt.
free one?
Only Polt is the one I'm using right
Which
now.
one?
Only Polt,
You
P-O-L-T.
have to pay for that one?
Yep, it's $12 a month.
Cheap.
It's $12 a month,
Nothing's
but
free out there.
it is the only one that will actually post it. Every other tool on the Facebook planet goes, Instagram scheduling. That's great. Scheduling doesn't mean posting. That just means scheduling. So it schedules it and it sends you a little push reminder and it's like, hey, you need to post this now. Who has the point of me scheduling it so I didn't have to worry about it? So Only Poll is the only one. I think it's a Scandinavian company actually. I'm using it for 3 clients right now, and it works really well. Relatively cheap. Hootsuite is fine, but third-party tools, every platform and their brother, minus LinkedIn basically, and Twitter because they're desperate, are penalizing anything that's not done in the platform, that's not on platform. Now, how bad it gets penalized is different, right? I mean, there's some rules that are really big, some are minor, but in theory, you want to reduce as many knocks against you as you can get. So, Facebook schedule in, and what I think we're going to see is that, again, if there's cross-posting happening, where you can post in your Facebook page and go to Instagram, if you can schedule there, it'll schedule it over there. Like Instagram app.
All the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable saying the Instagram app will never allow you to schedule, ever. It's kind of against their core philosophy. But for brands that have both Facebook pages and the Instagram brand profile, I'm imagining they'll tie that over.
Well, they already do that a little bit for boosted posts. I didn't ask for it to go on my Instagram, but
Correct.
the first time I did it, I was like, oh, hello, cool. And then automatically without even.
Correct. So yeah, you can schedule an ad currently. So yeah, it's already kind of there, but there's a lot of pushback from what I read internally. Instagram really hates the concept of scheduling. Really, really, really. Their theory, like there was literally a letter probably a year ago that there was an internal letter that got leaked, and then they sued everybody and their brother and got it pulled down. But literally it was like, if you want to schedule, don't be on our platform. Like they were just straight, we don't care if you don't want to use Instagram, and bye. And Facebook was like, no, that's not what they meant. That's sorry, it was a joke. It wasn't meant that way. But Facebook will win. It's the parent company, it owns it. Mark Zuckerberg can just walk in and be like, you out of your office, bye. You're holding up the process. We're doing this. If he wants to, but it'll come. It's just taking a while. Any other questions? No? Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming out. I think that's
Thank you.
all I've got. Just to be official. Yeah. And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.